how ICF is looking forward for that. And bueno, so, nice, I will change my technology next to use all those things. But let's say, buenas tardes, saludando, I think estamos grabando, acá transmitiendo en directo. Para los que nos siguen, estamos en el evento 24 meeting of this event en 2021 sobre conversaciones juntos con vos, que es una iniciativa para invitar o para registrar, porque ni siquiera invitamos a algunas personas, por supuesto, como hoy, que tenemos el gusto de tener a Magda Mook, pero la posibilidad de tener conversaciones que nos sirvan para ver qué cosas pensamos que pueden ser hechas, qué acciones podemos generar, qué ideas hay, como para pensar si hace falta crear se viene un nuevo coaching o similar, ¿no? Okay, so I usually do a presentation, which I don't know if I'm going to do now, because your time is short.
Thank you.
I don't want to take this. No quiero quitarle el tiempo esta vez a Magda. Quienes entren al canal van a ver todas las presentaciones anteriores con una introducción sobre qué Juntos Somos Más, cuáles son los objetivos en dos niveles. Un paquete de objetivos is what happened, our agenda. You know that we have an agenda. I think I sent you a link. Agenda regarding how can we empower coaching in the different countries, and how can we simplify the sense or the knowledge of coaching to make easy people to ask for coaching. How can we clarify the concept? How can we help coaches to work? Porque la base que queremos, además de clarificar la profesión, es que los coaches trabajen. And you know that you have statistics about which is the percentage of coaches that work here. So that for me is the most important challenge for coaches themselves, schools, associations, local associations, global association, or whatever. So the thing is, how can we speak or found here what are the points to work, and what are the things that we can work together, all the coaches, country by country, to have better results. More or less, esa es la introducción para los que hayan entendido, para los que no, es qué podemos hacer para encontrar ideas y propuestas que permitan que los coaches trabajen más, que la profesión sea más reconocida, que las personas les sea más fácil pedir coaching, que no haya tanta confusión de que coaching, coaching is, for any person is a different thing, and everything is said about coaching, so that's important. Esto es lo importante que ICF y las organizaciones pueden hacer, que es tener muy claro su concepto, being clear with your concept, be clear with the standards, and going further, avanzando con lo que se supone que you have make important things as it is to get some conversations between international organizations regarding ethics. Right? Okay, so that's the most important thing. But what happened with other things? What happened? I want to be very. I've been in some conversations where some countries wanted to make this conversation, and it's interesting how the resistance, como la resistencia, cuando hay reuniones regionales o de países, has to do to, yes, I want to maintain my conversation, I want to be the one, I want to be, so I think that's a human thing, but I think we have to change that. And maybe beginning with ICF, the biggest one, which is la que es la más grande, ICF, que es la más grande, que es la que más ha trabajado, que más ha expandido. Le comentaba a Magda que cuando yo en 2010 me acerqué a ICF y fui parte, no solamente fundador del capítulo, sino colaborador de marketing, colaborador regional, etc. For me, it was a learning. I learned whatever because nobody knew what to do. From that time to now, things have changed in a very important way. So, la pregunta es, what is happening? ¿Qué pasa de ahora para adelante? Now, further. The world has changed, el mundo cambió, la gente cambió, las necesidades son las mismas o no, la demanda económica es diferente. Entonces, ¿qué podemos hacer para sentarnos en una mesa? How can we sit in a table, all the four organizations and other local organizations, so they can do something further country by country? That's the idea.
Yeah, you use several very important concepts. One is empowerment. And as you know, our current tagline for ICF is empowering the world through coaching. And it is about empowerment of an individual. It is an empowerment of an organization, of a system, of a region, of a country, of the organization, you name it. And as you mentioned, the world around us changed pretty dramatically. But actually what we're gathering from all the research that we do is that coaching is really, really needed right now. And there are certain aspects of it. One is that there is a need for very different type of leadership. There is a need for a leader who's inclusive, who can be vulnerable, who involves others in the decision-making process, who is willing to say, I don't know, and also the one who's really, truly interested in the progress of people he or she is leading. And we also know.
Let me just make a resume, because I won't make. You know what I do after of this? I will take the transcription, I will share the transcription in Spanish, because if not, this is very long. But para ser resumido, la ICF tiene como su línea, digamos, de concepto empowering, es empoderando al mundo a través del coaching, lo cual habla de un poco lo que necesita el mundo, que ha cambiado, que necesita un montón de cosas, que hoy hay una necesidad de diferentes tipos de líderes, que por supuesto coincidimos todos, porque también juntos somos más, privilegiamos la inclusión. También hablamos de ser más vulnerables, and I believe that vulnerability is some of the things that really I have changed in myself when I also included supervision on my work, which was a step very important for that, la vulnerabilidad, donde podamos incluir a los demás, empoderarlos y desear que los demás de alguna forma progresen. Entonces, todo esto genera un nuevo cambio. Just a question is, I said this phrase, ready to change the world, become a coach, was historically there, or this is new also?
Say again, what was the statement?
Ready to change the world, become a coach.
That's
I was surprised when I read that phrase, because I used it long away, and I said, well, no.
You know, I do believe, and I will always say that coaching does change the world. The coaching does transform people, and therefore individuals. So, but as you know very well, coaching is not for everybody, neither on the receiving or a giving end, right? There are some other modalities available and useful that may, in some circumstances, be better than coaching as a client, from a client perspective. And at the same time, you know, some people may be better at being mentors, at being supervisors, not necessarily coaches. Having said that, I think that this is very appropriate to make sure that the awareness of what coaching is for both prospective clients and prospective professional coaches is something that we need to jointly, as you suggested, work on.
The final word was? Jointly?
That we have to jointly work on raising awareness of what professional coaching is, both for the clients and for prospective coaches.
Sí, yes. I mean, meaning entonces que evidentemente hay como una transformación en el mundo. El coaching puede no ser para todos, which is an interesting point. No todo para todos, tanto recibirlo como darlo. Puede ser por ahí gente más eficiente, más útil siendo mentores, siendo supervisores. Sí hay un punto que podemos coincidir, que es un poco lo que yo decía antes. Al coaching le hace falta un mayor grado de conocimiento, un mayor grado de conciencia, un mayor grado de conocimiento, yo diría, para su desarrollo. I would say this is awareness would be something. And how can we get that awareness? And is that the responsibility of one organization, or together we are more?
I believe that this is responsibility not really of the organizations, although ICF does a lot in this field, but this is also a responsibility of each and every professional coach. You know, because when you work with your client, you are the best suited person to say, and I am a professional coach. Look what phenomenal benefit you are receiving from your professional engagement or an engagement with the professional coach. So please do talk about it. Do talk about your experience. Do talk about the benefits that you get. And as we talked right before the program started, ICF has almost 50,000 members around the globe. No organization and no money can buy advertising that 50,000 individuals can do by simply promoting what they do and the standards, professional standards of what they do.
Bueno, esta es la idea de que eventualmente es una tarea de todos los coaches poder hacerlo, que cada uno haga este trabajo de difundir, de hacer y desarrollar la profesión. Y la ICF, que hoy tiene 50.000 miembros, bueno, imaginan que hay como, correctly, como una idea de lo que puede llegar a ser que cada uno de esos 50.000 hagan ese trabajo, hagan esa promoción, hagan ese avance. I do believe that there is a number of, I would say, bueno, you have the investigations about which is the total coaches in the world, or which are the total coaches per area. I am speaking of mostly, I'm looking at the world, but mostly what is happening in Latin America. And I think there is in Latin America a big number of coaches. And I speak this, I want to say you with organizations, different organizations which have different numbers, and they have the same question. If we are 4,000 or 40,000, what happened that there are so little coaches working together or being part of organizations? Something should be or could be different. That's my question, no? And I said, well, what's missing? Well, I think there is a change, and I think that we have to think, how can we make an offer that understands the situation. As I speak country by country, I speak region by region. I know that you are successful in the States, successful in Europe, successful in West Europe, but what is happening in Latin America, and I have my focus there. What would be the most interesting offer in South America? O sea, el desarrollo de ICF es impresionante en todas las partes del mundo. Hay un número de coaches registrados en el mundo y no todos están, pero en Latinoamérica es donde yo le pongo el ojo. Hay como una posibilidad de desarrollo mucho más importante. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿qué debemos comprender en los coaches de Latinoamérica para poder, sí, ya lo hablamos con Magda, el tema económico, pero dejando de lado el tema económico, ¿qué es lo que está faltando como para generar una mayor adhesión al coaching profesional, un mayor empuje, una mayor posibilidad de adhesión? What we have to do in this region?
This is a really interesting question because it still is considered more, several countries in Latin America anyway are considered emerging economies. And this is you know, I think you and I would agree that to really grow the profession of coaching everywhere in the world, what needs to exist is the client that is willing to hire a coach. Right? So there needs to be a good understanding from the potential purchasers of coaching. What are the benefits? What is their return on investment? And also definitely of where they should look for coaches, what questions they should ask before they hire a coach, and what qualifications they need to ask for before they decide on engaging with a professional. And I use the word professional absolutely on purpose, because as we all know, the term coaching is kind of fashionable, and many people who may not have qualifications from the perspective as we would consider it, being qualified coach, they would call themselves a coach. It is unregulated profession. The term is not protected. So I think that from my perspective, the greatest emphasis needs to be on convincing, if you will, the potential purchasers, the potential clients of coaching, what coaching can do for them.
You are very clear and very interesting all the sequence, ¿no? Es decir, el foco debería poder estar, o el objetivo, en convencer a los potenciales compradores del coaching sobre lo que es, sobre lo que significa, sobre el beneficio, sobre lo que significa para la empresa, sobre las calificaciones que debe tener un coach y sobre la idea de la profesionalidad, dado que el coaching, como todos sabemos, tiene un grado de moda, tiene un grado de, digamos, al no estar como, that's another question I'm going to try, al no estar como tanto más regulado, hay que proteger la profesión. Bueno, I agree absolutely on that, you know, and you know that I was an understander and about what was the position of regulation, self-regulation.
Yep.
I think, and you know, that this is a conversation where I am a little provocative. I think the world has changed, and if we want that to happen, if we want the society to understand what is coaching and what is professional coaching, shouldn't we think that coaches could do something to, more than self-regulated, put at the profession in the level of other professions? Should we understand, and this won't go in terms of, it won't go against what the work of the organizations do, but something different the world is needing so coaching can go further to get the level it needs. I am absolutely convinced about the power of the profession. I am convinced of what you said. We have to work. And when you say we have to work in the understanding of the companies and the users, why don't we work together? Why don't we work on it together, each country by country, on what we needed to say, to communicate, and to see that this is a solid profession that we can work with the authorities to explain them what we do and how we can do to help us to protect the profession, as you say, in a different manner. I know that's a very complicated idea and change, but this is what I think that the world is needing now, no?
Well, you know, yes, and I think that the collaboration amongst the professional organizations is always a good thing. And a lot of that is happening, not necessarily in Latin America, but you know that in Europe, we are working very closely with our colleagues and friends in multiple organizations, especially on a regulatory front. So, but also on climate crisis and a couple of other issues like diversity and inclusion. So that collaboration does exist. I think you're making a very good point that maybe there are some areas on the map of a universe where that collaboration is not happening as strongly, and that's something that we certainly can work on. And you know, as always with the collaboration, you have to make an invitation, and then it has to be a benefit for all parties involved. So that's the beginning of a dance, right?
You know, I love what you're saying. I feel that anything that we do together, that's our philosophy, will be for the benefit of all. And the first thing would be that as many collaboration would be country by country to position coaching and coaches in a better way. Coaches will be benefit. The interesting of getting into the standards will be better. the respect of the companies and the clients would be better. I know that it's difficult. I know that we're speaking, and I agree in terms of Latin America, which is the biggest challenge, but it's the one I know, and I heard what is happening with the Global Alliance and all those things, and I believe I go by the two things. One is what is the profession, and the other is what is happening with the world regarding not only climate, intolerance, politics, diversity, less inclusion, intolerance, polarization. I know it's complicated. I don't know, up there it's different, but down here there's a list of things that we promote. So is there, I just leave it at a thing, is there a possibility that we can sit in a table and speak about this with the organizations to see how we can flow with a chapter? Because, you know, this is some organizations and a little structure and a little military. To have a different conversations, do you think this could be possible in 2022? Be in that table and speaking in Latin America, country by country. Do you think that could be possible to create an event that would be all the same week, the countries, not global, because, you know, country by country, ICF, because, MCC is beginning, something. Local association with our respect.
Well, with FICOP, you know, that we have a good conversation with FICOP, so that's already starting to happen. One thing, not to go into any specific organizations because I don't really know, but I can tell you the process that we went through in Europe was that there are organizations and organizations. We have a set of criteria of who we want to be at the table with. And there were some organizations that we did not invite to that conversation because we thought, and that was a collective, multiple organizations, we did not think that they were credible. And therefore, we did not want to take away from the credibility of a roundtable by inviting non-credible partners. So that's something that I know that it's not the popular statement, especially in the era of inclusion, but this is something about quality, credibility, and values. So if there are organizations, as you said, there are many of them, and they claim to be professional, but then by their actions or by their values or by whatever they do, we don't believe it, then I think it's a right decision not to invite them to the conversation. So being somewhat selective, you know, who you want to sign that declaration is it's not the wrong thing to do, I don't think. And at the same time, I think you're right. From our research, we know that the awareness of professional coaching is going up pretty much in every country. And around the globe, it's reaching some very exciting levels. Another good news, but we have to continue working to keep that level of awareness, and especially, you know me, I'm relentless on standards. It needs to be professional, it needs to be well prepared, it needs to be validated. Otherwise, it's either not coaching or it is not the coaching at the quality that we as an organization can back and stand behind, right?
Okay, let me el resumen sería el trabajo que se hizo en Europa tiene que ver con una gran conversación que generó con quienes nos sentamos a la mesa, porque mi propuesta siempre fue sentarse en la mesa para conversar y cómo se pusieron de acuerdo para entender que hay organizaciones que son creíbles y otras que no son creíbles, y ahí ya se hizo un criterio. Y eso mismo debería pasar en Latinoamérica, tener en claro con quién nos sentamos a la mesa. Entendemos que el conocimiento del coaching está creciendo a niveles globales, eso es positivo, y de alguna forma lo que se desea para que esos niveles se aprovechen y crezcan es que estén validados con estándares profesionales que tengan mínimos estándares profesionales quienes se pongan de acuerdo para hacerlo. I thought in the middle of this explanation, which I agree, how can we get to the next step? Meaning that, this was it. You know that the level of awareness had a great development regarding this thing of technology and networks. Mm-hmm. And what I feel is that this opened a very wide thing of coaches, but it has all is the same. So every single, you have to be, today you have to work 7 hours on advertising and 1 hour on coaching. Because if you want to attend the networks, I just blow my mind because I am very tired about that. But it is true. And if you do an advertising work, you can be recognized and be in the level of awareness, not having even accreditation, not having a minimum kind of hours, and people don't know that. So if we don't, that's my thing. If we don't do something to the people to understand, because you said so, people must know how to choose a coach, people must know, and if we don't work together to set those minimum standards in a massive way, we only will say, well, no, if you are not ICF, you're not a coach. And that's not fair.
No, we don't say that.
I don't know. I know I am being provocative. I know that you don't say that, but you don't say, but your coaches do. Or say your coaches, your members or whatever. And I did many years, and I do believe that part of it is true. But then I understood that being a coach is more more of the inner thinking or way of passion or respect or what you feel than what other will say, and it was interesting the other day with Lisa, with all these steps that you have to do to be recognized. Go to the school, have your certification, have your I know that's changing. You are making changes, because is making changes. Everybody's making changes, and I'm very happy because I'm moving that a couple of years ago, and I think it's part of the reality. But that would be a point. How can you decide the level of a coach? Only with a certification, and the others don't. And people, I do remember, you don't not remember, but in 2011, the first recommendation, the first work in my innocent way of understanding is, how can we get coaches into ICF? And always it was to say what we do. And I said, no, we don't have to do that. We have to work on the companies to make them understand the importance of coaching, and they will contract coaches of ICF, and then the coaches will come to ICF. That was a proposal that I did, very specific, April of 2011. There was no continuity on that, but I think that's part of it. Is as you said, business companies must understand what is important, and the networks in those times, and in these times, Mexican resource manager will have an image of ICF and will speak with a resource manager of Argentina. That was an idea of expansion or whatever. Now the thing is that the profession has grown so much, and so what we can do to get advantage of what appear next. That ICF changed the vision of ontological coaching in South America. That was an important thing to understand, that something was missing. It's not only knowledge, it's also structure. It's also, many things have been, so there is something like a global unification. And I'm sharing all these ideas for you to understand that this is my thinking, many people may think, and the problem is, how can we go further and more? Prometo a los que están que se queden un ratito, después les traduzco todo lo que no quiero traducir ahora porque se me escapa. No, how can we go in that way?
Yeah, and I think we do because there are different things. We are working with PricewaterhouseCoopers right now on the most recent global awareness of coaching study. And again, it's not being released yet. The data it's not being cleaned, so I quite cannot quote it quite yet. But the trend is upward. The trend is upward. So that's good. The other thing, as you know, we restructured ICF. We transformed ICF as an organization. So now we have a division that is solely focused on bringing coaching and coaching cultures to organizations. So this is exactly following that trend that you mentioned about when large organizations, large and small, I don't really have an opinion here, but when the organizations are benefiting from coaching, and we started getting this information through our PRISM Award program, as you well know. But then now we have a hub for all these organizations having coaching cultures, utilizing internals, externals, leaders and managers using coaching skills. They are telling the story that is so much more powerful, right? Than if a coach say, I'm great, hire me, I can bring results for you. It's the organization saying, if not for coaching, we would be bankrupt by now. Or if not for coaching, we would not accomplish our goals. If not for coaching, our leadership program would be in trouble. So this is precisely what the whole marketing and communications side of what ICF is doing, but also as I said before, I truly believe each and every organization, professional organization, and each and every coach needs to do is to tell that story, the story of results brought about by coaching.
I do believe, I agree in the sense of this year, I began to share results of a client as something that it was like something special. I've been seeing it, but it's I think one thing that I always said, I have a page with testimonies about 10 or 11 years of people making testimonies about what they received in the process. It doesn't mean that they have to say you're great. It means that they say what different ways they believe or they live coaching that work for them.
Yep.
So that was that page. I still have it because I asked for the clients to help, and there's so different ways of how they get the benefit, so different ways. So there is not only one way regarding one style, one structure, one thing, and that's the thing I feel that the world have changed. I've been open in many different things, and we have to accept that there are different ways. And I'm thinking, maybe I'll tell you later. I always think, what would be the way where everyone can get in relation and get benefit of it, because it's for the benefit of all.
Exactly. And I am a huge proponent of actually having multiple organizations, because like with everything else, you got so many grocery stores and you choose to shop with one or the other. You have so many brands of this, that, or the. It's brilliant because it does provide some competition, and I am a true believer that competition makes you think about next best thing rather than being complacent about what's going on. And I think that there is an agenda for all of us professional coaching organizations to make coaching very credible, to make coaching very respected, and also very desirable. and it could be done in different ways. Some of the local organizations, I'll say, have maybe even an advantage over ICF, that they are local and they are catering to very specific needs of a place, geography, or maybe culture. ICF, on the other hand, has the great benefit of seeing what's happening in the big world of coaching, and sharing this information with our members, and also reporting on the trends that can be picked up in any given market. But the net of it, as you suggested, is we're in it for the very same reason. We want the word to
That's
be
right. That's the point. I remember speak about groceries. You know, I am Argentinian. I live in Uruguay.
There you go.
And there are all in the countries, there are different chains, no, different chains of groceries. What I find here is there were all in them, and now 4 or 5 of the biggest are of the same company, are of the same organization. Each one has independence, each one has a brand, but they have some common things. Just making an analogy, how can we think a way of doing that? And understanding, of course, and you know it better than me, that what is happening in the States and the business that are creating in the States are not the same that the ones we need in the rest of the world. And I think it's not only in America. You have challenges in West world or whatever. I want to recognize the work you have done and the place you have take ICF at this time. And of course, this was for me a very important conversation to think what we can help and do together. I want to say that I am not an organization. I am not a society of non-fund. I am not whatever. I don't have members. I don't have nothing. I am just working in the benefit of, because if not, I would be the same, and it's not the idea, no? I'm thinking what is going to do with this movement of people who thinks that things can be changed and working together can work, but in a different way. And I am thinking just to help and to move this and to, get involved in how can we help to on this idea of country by country and all the conversations that I know you have, because I know that we have realized all those conversations. I don't know if, people who are from the first part of the conversation, Lorena, Silvia, yo sé que estamos en inglés, en una frecuencia de inglés que yo me permite quizá no traducir tan fácilmente, pero que lo voy a hacer cuando suba el video. Vamos a poner como la conversación del otro día, una serie de definiciones. Si desde la perspectiva de jóvenes coaches, como es, I'm very in touch with young coaches who are beginning, and the expectations of coaches that begins in these times are not the same the ones that, were in my times. And they have a vision about what are the organizations and how they look and what they do. Carola, por ejemplo, is in Bolivia and has a vision about what's happening with the coaches in Bolivia, meaning that there are feelings that are not always commented, but I always invite people to say, let's speak of what we see. And as we speak before, organizations are a couple of persons working together, and the problem is not the organization, but the people who get in charge. And I can tell you very many stories about this all 15 years about what I saw on that. But okay, we are looking the future and the best way to do bad things. What would you say? You said very clear, and each one has to do its work. Each one has to do. What else can you add about what you vision for the next year, 2022, regarding what is happening in the profession? Just to make a close, because I don't want to take you out of the hour.
Thank
Your
you
message,
for the
the final message.
It's a really good question. What I hope for next year is that the awareness of professional coaching continues to grow, which, as I mentioned, we have every indication to believe so, and I think that what we're seeing is that coaching is being applied in different ways. We talk about organizations. Typically, the organization will hire coaches for, getting better results, right? For financial results, for their stakeholders, for their shareholders. And now I think it is probably the outcome of the pandemic, is that organizations are really paying attention to the well-being of their employees, right? So we see a lot of coaches being engaged to just help set up the mechanisms for well-being. Of course, we're not crossing the line with therapy and mental health. That's somebody else's job. But to really make sure that the leadership of the organizations are paying attention to the well-being, not only of every individual on a payroll, but the leaders themselves. You know, I recently read that I wrote an article for Harvard Business Review, which was published maybe a month ago, is that leaders are supposed to be superhumans and superheroes. And who is taking care of the leaders? So coaching is one of the mechanisms to bring that awareness and bring that ability to take care. And the same, I have to say it, Gerardo, yes. Coaches have to take care of themselves too. Otherwise, they will not be able to help others. And we lost Gerardo. I'm thinking that Gerardo's internet just is not working that well, but I really am very, very sincere when I say that heroes need to rest. And I think last year, and even at least the first part of this year, leaders were maybe asked for impossible. Because it is for a reason. They're leaders for a reason. They probably have a greater resilience, and that's why they reached the position they did. But at the same time, you know, you can sprint, you can run this fast only for so long, and then you have to take a rest. So I think that coaches have a very unique ability to create the space for leaders to understand that that's what's needed, not only needed, required. Otherwise, this burnout that we talk about everybody else suffering from will definitely be the case for them. And if we have a vacuum in leadership, we know that this is very difficult gap to fill. So I think that really coaches paying attention to their own well-being can be such a phenomenal catalyst for leaders to realize, understand, and embrace the concept of them taking care of themselves as well. And I honestly hope that 2022 will bring this conversation to the forefront. We already hear a lot about it, and I think that coaches and coaching can really help not only to amplify the conversation, but also to truly bring about great solutions for the leaders of today. Well, I don't know what happened to Gerardo. I will have to say goodbye at this point. I only had this time allotted for our conversation today. Very, very happy to meet you. And I hope we'll see each other somewhere, somehow. Wishing everybody very happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas for you.